There is a comforting lie that people like to believe that somewhere in a secure room, a human hand always hovers over the final decision, that no matter how bad things get, a person can still say stop, that the end of the world would require intent, race, madness, or at least a choice. But the nuclear age quietly dismantled that illusion because the most terrifying systems on Earth were not built to decide, they were built to continue. For decades, Vladimir Putin has been portrayed as a singular figure, an emperor with a nuclear arsenal, the man who holds the keys, the last barrier between order and annihilation. And so the question asked again and again, usually in whispers, if Putin dies, what happens next? Would Russia fracture? Would the military lose control? Would the missiles launch themselves? The answer is not found in politics. It is found in a system designed for the moment when politics no longer exist, a system known as Dead Hand. Dead Hand was born from paranoia, but not irrational paranoia. During the Cold War, Soviet intelligence believed something terrifying, that the United States might one day attempt a perfect first strike, a blow so sudden and overwhelming that Soviet leadership would be erased before they could respond. No orders, no retaliation, no balance, just silence. To the Soviet mind, this would be defeat without war, a loss not to power but to speed. So the question became unavoidable. How do you guarantee revenge when no one is left alive to order it? The answer was perimeter. Dead Hand was never meant to be visible. It does not parade in military ceremonies. It is not announced in speeches. It does not threaten. It waits. Its purpose is not to win a war, but to deny victory to anyone else. It exists to say, even if you kill us perfectly, you still lose. Here is the crucial truth most people never hear. Dead Hand does not watch leaders, it watches the planet. Seismic sensors buried deep underground, radiation detectors tuned for nuclear signatures, communications monitors listening for sudden unnatural silence. It does not care about headlines. It does not care about elections. It does not care who sits in the Kremlin. It only cares whether nuclear war has already begun. This is why the death of Vladimir Putin by itself changes nothing. No alarms sound, no countdown begins, no missiles stir. Russia's nuclear forces do not depend on one man's pulse, but Dead Hand introduces a far darker reality, a future where human leadership is not required after a certain threshold is crossed. Imagine the worst possible day. Missiles detonate across Russian territory, command bunkers collapse, communication lines vanish in seconds. In that chaos, Dead Hand begins its process, not emotionally, not dramatically, but methodically. It asks its first question, is this a nuclear attack? If the answer is unclear, it waits. If the signals do not align, it waits. Dead Hand is patient, but the end of the world does not require speed, it requires certainty. Then comes the second question, is anyone still in control? The system sends out checks, probes digital calls into the dark, seeking confirmation that someone somewhere can still give an order to stop. If a single command post answers, if a single chain of authority remains intact, Dead Hand stands down. The system exists to obey the living. But if the answers never come, if Russia appears not only attacked but decapitated, then the responsibility shifts from people to protocol. At this stage, Dead Hand does not unleash destruction immediately, it does something colder. It launches command missiles, unarmed rockets whose sole purpose is to carry a signal. They fly over Russian territory like ghosts, transmitting encrypted launch codes to surviving nuclear forces, silos, mobile launchers, submarines hidden beneath the oceans. a final broadcast from a state that believes it has already been erased. This is not revenge fueled by anger. This is retaliation without emotion, the most dangerous kind. Here is the paradox at the heart of Dead Hand. Its existence makes nuclear war less likely because as long as it exists, no enemy can believe in a clean victory. No decapitation strike can ever be safe. The certainty of retaliation keeps the missiles silent, and yet, if the worst moment ever arrives, Dead Hand ensures that restraint is no longer possible. Once the system acts, there is no recall, no apology, no negotiation, no realization that a mistake was made, only execution. This is why military strategists fear miscalculation more than malice, a false alarm, a misinterpreted signal, a chain reaction of assumptions, because Dead Hand does not weigh intentions, it weighs evidence, and evidence can lie. The real danger is not that machinery want to destroy the world. The real danger is that humans built machines to act when humans are gone. We told them what to value. We told them what counts as proof. We told them when silence means death. And then we buried them deep underground and hoped we would never need them. So when people ask, will the world end if Putin dies? They are asking the wrong question. The correct question is a far more unsettling one. At what point does the world stop needing permission to end? Dead Hand is not waiting for a man to die. It is waiting for a world to convince it that it already has. As long as leaders breathe, speak and communicate, the system remains quiet. As long as war remains hypothetical, Dead Hand sleeps. But once nuclear war becomes real, once cities burn and voices disappear, the system does not hesitate, because hesitation is a human luxury. Dead Hand represents the final evolution of deterrence, a future where survival no longer requires leadership, where revenge no longer requires anger, where the last act of a nation is carried out by machines following instructions written decades earlier. Not because anyone wanted the world to end, but because everyone was too afraid to be the one who didn't respond. And if the day ever comes when Dead Hand completes its mission, history will not remember a leader. It will not remember a speech. It will remember that humanity built a system that ensured one final truth, that once the red line is crossed, no one is left to change their mind.